Hey guys, welcome back to J&G Sports Network. I'm Jay over here, and that's G over there.
Yo, what's up?
And we got some stuff to talk about today. There's not really too much going on in basketball. We're just getting close to the playoffs, so things are kind of dying down. I mean, all the teams around the top are still kind of fighting, at least in the East. But yeah, I think the 20 teams in the playoffs, I think, are pretty set. So there's not really too much going on. So I figured we'd start with your favorite team over there, the Boston Celtics, because they have had a great year since the calendar year started, and they just secured the 1 seed, but just suffered a major injury.
Yeah, last night against the Timberwolves, Robert Williams went down with a knee injury, and we found out today that he has a torn meniscus and he's going to be out multiple weeks, probably a week, month and a half to 2 months, and he might not even come back for the tail end of the playoffs.
Yeah,
Which is a big hit. Me being a Celtics fan, I hate to see it. I mean, probably just a sports fan, you hate to see it, but just looking at that Celtics roster, I mean, other than Al Horford, you got Daniel Tice and Luke Cornett. I forget how to say his last
Luke
name.
Cornett.
Yeah, I mean, they're not Rob Williams. That's all I gotta say. Daniel Tice can stretch the floor a little bit, but no one's gonna bring that defensive presence like Rob Williams.
Yeah, I'm trying to look and see if I can see any like current free agent centers that step in, and I mean, I see Aaron Baines, but like I said, he's not really the defensive center. Marquise Bolden again. I mean, he'd be okay. Yeah, there's not really centers out there at the moment that they could sign for the playoffs.
Yeah, there's not.
Taco.
I'd be cool bringing Taco back.
It's a tall.
Hell yeah, I'd bring him back, but they won't do that. So.
Yeah. So I guess we can start talking about like the top teams in the East and how crazy close it is right now. And I figure we can start with um the Celtics at 1. Obviously, they just took the 1 seed last night. They've been 9-1 in their last 10 games. Um, do you see them still as legit contenders with Rob Williams out for potentially the whole playoffs or coming back late in the playoffs?
Depending on how these last games go to finish off the season is going to be the telltale sign. I think that team is still really good defensively. It is a hit inside having Rob Williams be out, but it's just going to have to be the next man up mentality. Tice is going to have to come in and he's going to have to play his best brand of basketball. Al Horford is going to have to lock down the paint, and Grant Williams is going to possibly have to go after some of these bigger size centers like Jokic or, like
Yeah.
Embiid or whoever. He's going to have to really big body him.
Mm-hmm. And I feel like that could lead into like what we could do here. If you had to rank the Celtics title chances between 1 and 10 now, what would they be? 10 being like favorites, 1 being no shot.
I know last episode I put him around a 7 or 8. I'm going to drop it to a 5 or a 6. I think Rob Williams was an integral part of that team, and him being out is going to be missed very much. But there's also a chance that he does come back for a late playoff run. And who knows, maybe Tice comes out there and he starts blocking shots, or Al Horford starts playing like he did back when he was on the Hawks, You never know what could happen. They can still win it all, but it's not as likely without Rob Williams.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like a 6 or a 7. Probably like a 6 now. If Rob Williams was there, I'd probably say 7.5, 8, but I'd probably get sick at a 6 right now.
Yeah.
Have the 2 seed team has been struggling quite a bit recently, but they're still a 2 seed. Record wise, it looks like they're tied with the Celtics. But I guess percentage wise, whatever that crap is. The Miami Heat.
The Celtics hold the tiebreak over the Miami Heat.
Okay. So from 1 to 10, what do you think the Miami Heat's chances are winning a title are?
That's tough. They're in a bad stretch, but you know how that goes in the NBA and just basketball in general. They could have a bad stretch, and the next thing you know, they just flip it around and go
Yeah,
on a run.
yeah.
I think it's still about. I think it's about a 4 or 5. They don't have that perennial all star that you would like to have on a championship team, but it's a really good, well rounded team. And I think they could make a little bit of noise in the playoffs.
I'm gonna go like a 7.5. I think 4 or 5 is a little low for this team. Like I definitely understand. I know we've talked about it before. Like they don't have that top 5 to 10 player in the NBA that most championship teams have. Um, Especially with Jimmy Butler kind of struggling recently. But I think they're a good enough team overall to kind of overcome that. I see a lot of similarities between them and the Phoenix Suns out west, where it's like, you have your guys and Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo that are your like your stand up, you're above the rest of the pack, like talent wise. But they're still not superstars. You know what I mean? But I think as a team, they're good enough. I think they could definitely. I wouldn't be surprised to see them in the conference finals.
Oh, we're gonna have a Miami Heat make it to the finals, and we're gonna have a rerun of them against the Lakers.
The Lakers would be lucky to get there.
I'm not saying the Lakers don't get there, but I'm just saying we could have a rerun. Heat go out in 5 games or something like that.
Yeah. The 3 seed, and probably, especially with the Rob Williams injury, but I think even before then, my favorites to come out of the East are the 3 seeded Bucks.
Oh yeah, I can totally understand that. I mean, it's Giannis, champions from last year. 1 to 10, I'm giving them about an 8, 9,
Yeah, I'd probably say 9 myself.
9.
I don't. Yeah, like I said, I don't think there's really too much to say about that. They're the reigning champions. They have, a 2-time MVP in running for another one this year, multiple-time Defensive Player of the Year. They're just
Finals MVP.
Yep. 50 in a closeout game. Then he went to Chick-fil-A.
Got another 50 piece.
Yep. So now this is a strange one. The 4 seeded 76ers.
So, like you said, this is a very tough one. They were doing really well. Then they got James Harden, and they've been struggling a little bit, in my opinion.
Well, they've been. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I feel like Joel Embiid was like the front runner for the MVP until James Harden came over. And the thing is, Embiid has not been any worse with Harden there. His stats are almost the same. I just think there's this weird narrative that because he has that other superstar in James Harden, it dropped his MVP stock. Whether or not it might not be fair, and I don't think it is fair that hurt his stock, but it has, because you kind of see Embiid falling to like the 2 or 3 spot on most people's MVP list when a month or two ago he was almost not everybody's, but a lot of people's number 1 in MVP.
Yeah, I can understand that because Embiid is Embiid. I feel like even when they lose or even when it's a close game and James Harden's just shit in the bag, Embiid is just going out there and he's just demolishing the other opposing centers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like I said, I think I probably give them a 6. I think they have the talent to win. I think they struggle with some role players, but I think they have the overall talent to win. I just don't. I'm sorry. I think they have the talent to compete, but I don't think they have the talent to win.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. And if we're being honest, if we would be looking at this and the Harden trade wouldn't have went through, I think the 76ers are actually higher up record-wise and have a better chance.
I could 100% agree with that. And it's weird to say because adding James Harden should make your team better. It's just like they gave up a lot of good role players. And of course, James Harden was the best player in that trade. They got the best player. I just don't know how well the team gels to make a deep finals run.
Yeah, I mean, I know Seth Curry was involved in that deal.
Andre Drummond was involved. Seth Curry. feel like I'm missing a player.
Because I mean, right there is, statistically speaking, one of the best percentage 3-point shooters in the league right now.
And then Drummond, who's been ever since the past year or so, ever since he became a accepted his role as a backup, he's been a great backup center.
Yeah, and I mean, like, Embiid can't play all the time, and he was a good backup to throw in there to play 15 minutes just to get Embiid a little bit of rest so he can go back out there. And I feel like them getting Harden, they traded away the role players and a little bit of depth that they needed. And that just messed everything up. And especially with getting James Harden, Tobias Harris can't do what he likes to do.
Yep. But I think I'd give them a 6.
Yeah, about a 6.
Next is the 5-seeded Chicago Bulls, who have been struggling to say the least. They were the 1 seed. They had a crazy point differential, one of the best offenses in the league, one of the best defenses in the league to start the season. And then after All-Star break, they really, really have struggled to do anything.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, some of that has to do with some of the injuries that they've been having. Lonzo went out, I think. Did
Caruso was
DeRozan?
out for a while. Caruso, Lonzo missed a lot of time. I think DeRozan missed some time. Levine missed. Like, pretty much that whole roster has missed some time. But Caruso and Lonzo are the ones that missed a significant amount of time, and Lonzo's still not even back.
Is Vuce even back in the lineup
yet?
Yeah,
he's been in and out as well.
Okay. Yeah, because I knew he was maybe in and out. And the only thing I got to say about the Caruso injury is, when is someone going to take Grayson Allen's head off? We've been seeing it in the league for a couple years now. He smacked Grant Williams in the summer league game in the face. He did it in college. When is someone going to have the balls and take this guy out? Because I'm getting tired of seeing this.
Yeah.
And people say, oh, it's 90s play. No, this is not 90s play. 90s play was hard and physical, but it wasn't to the point of dirty. Grayson Allen just being dirty.
He's just kind of a douchebag.
He is.
I don't know how else to put that. But so 1 to 10 for the Bulls.
If they get everyone back, I think it's going to be about a 7. If they're still dealing with injuries and don't have everyone back, I think it drops to a 5.
I think I'm going to give it like a 5 pretty much regardless. I just don't know if that team has the power to really compete with most of these teams above them.
I mean, they're sticking in it, and they did have the 1 seed for a while.
Yeah, for sure.
They got hit with injuries.
I could see them making a second round push, but I just don't know if I can really see them going deep.
Oh yeah, I can understand that. I think with the way it's setting up now, that's going to be a tough one. If they ended now, they'd be going against 76ers.
Yeah, and who would you take in that matchup? The Bulls have nobody to guard Embiid. Every time Embiid plays the Bulls, he drops like 40 plus points.
But who do the 76ers have in the backcourt to stop DeRozan or Zach LaVine?
I don't know. It's tough. I think
it'll be, this one would be one of the better matchups, and I think it goes 6 or 7 games.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe.
I just know that Embiid has like shit on them every time he's played them this season because they have no front court defense.
But you also got to remember now.
The Sixers have Matisse Thybulle as well.
But they also have James Harden.
James Harden's not the bad defender he used to be.
But look at his shooting. But look at his majority of the shooting splits. This man's been going 2 for 14. Don't quote me on that, but that seems like it.
What it feels like. It's what it feels like he's doing.
It feels like he's been doing that about every single game.
Okay. So then, the Raptors, the 6-seed Raptors.
I don't know. I really don't know, because I just don't really like the Raptors. They have Pascal Siakam and Freddie, and that's about it. And they're just like, I don't know. It's weird.
Don't disrespect Scotty Barnes. He's been great this year.
Okay, Scotty Barnes. Possibly. Rookie of the year.
He's been pretty good too.
It's kind of like the Miami Heat, but they're like a little bit lower than the Heat, if you know what I mean.
I get what you're saying. They're similar to the Heat, where they're just a good all around team. They're just not as good as the Heat are.
Yes.
Yeah, I can
Uh,
agree with that. I think I would give the Raptors like a 4.
yeah, I think a 4, maybe 5,
Mhm.
but probably a 4.
How about the 7th-seeded Cavaliers?
See, this is a tough one because I don't know. I think this is going to be more difficult than what people think, especially if it ended right now.
I don't think so because the Cavaliers are going through so many injuries right now, and I don't think like they're not supposed to come back either. I give the Cavs like a 2 or 3 right now. They're fighting too many injuries. They're a really young team, and I just don't think they're going to make any type of push.
Yeah, that is true. Yeah,
I like the Cavs for sure, and I really want them to succeed, but I just don't think this is the year that's going to happen. And that's no knock. I mean, they're a really young team, like I said, so they have years to come to be good. And I think they're almost a lock to make the playoffs. Pretty much, like I don't think they're going to lose out to miss the playoffs. But
I mean, for them to lose the playoffs, they'd have to lose 9 games, 8.5, 9 games.
yeah,
They completely miss them.
and everybody below them will have to like almost win out. So, like
Yeah,
I said,
I mean, yeah,
they'll make they might even I guess right now they are in the play-in, so they might not even have playoff basketball because I don't consider the play-in the playoffs. You know what I mean?
I can
Like
understand that
I feel like once you get through the play-in, then you're in the playoffs. Like the play-ins are just kind of like a weird like I don't know. It's
middle
just
ground type deal.
yeah. Um. So like I think what they would be matched up against the
Hornets.
Hornets. That's gonna be tough. They could definitely see playoff basketball this year, but I don't know for sure. It would be good for the city to have playoff basketball without LeBron for like the first time in forever. But
Yeah,
I don't think it's gonna go nowhere.
I mean, we never know. You know what I mean? So
Well, yeah.
anything can happen on any given day.
I mean, you saw St. Peter's have that crazy run. The Cavs could do the same thing.
That is true, but St. Peter's did lose to North Carolina.
Yeah, the
But
whole
still,
world hates North Carolina now.
oh yeah, talking about that is if St. Peter's would have won the whole thing, there are some sports betting apps that would have had to pay out, I think, close to 800K because small bettors put money on St. Peter's,
That's crazy.
and they would have had substantial. How do you say that? Substantially, I
Wait,
can't.
what are you trying to say?
They would have had a lot of losses.
Substantial losses?
Yes,
Oh, okay. Yeah, I
that's what I
could
was trying to
imagine
say.
like before the tournament starts, being like, "Oh, look, St. Peter's. Let me just put, let me just put $100 down," and then at the end of it, winning $800,000 because they win. I mean,
Yeah,
like that would just be insane.
the odds at the beginning of the season were insane. But yeah, let's get back to what we were doing.
So the 8 seeded Hornets.
Looking at this team, because I have their depth chart pulled up. I think they beat if it ended right now, they beat the Cavs, and
Yeah, I agree with that.
and I think they could. Let's see, they'd play the Heat, and I think they could give a Heat a little bit of a run.
I don't know. I would probably give them like a 2, 3. I don't really see them too much as contenders.
Yeah, I can. Yeah, I agree with that 2 or 3, but I say like first round ball. I think they could really give the Heat more of a challenge than what people think they could.
Especially the way the Heat have been playing, it's definitely possible. I mean, LaMelo just had like a 30-point almost triple double against the Nets last night for us. Miles Bridges shot like 100 shots, but he ended up with like 20 some points, I think.
Yeah, man. Just looking at his team, you got LaMelo, Miles Bridges, PJ. I mean, at the center, you got Mason Plumlee, you got
Is
Montrez,
is it Caleb? Is it Caleb Martin or Cody Martin? Which one of them is still on the team?
Cody.
Cody Martin. Now I remember literally last night he had like 2 points going into like the end of the game, and then he hit that like one-legged chuck up three at the end of the shot clock, and then he hit another corner three. So he literally dropped 6 points in like almost like back-to-back possessions, like not quite. And like he was just like when they needed him, he was just there for them last night. It was great.
I mean, off the bench, they also have Kelly Oubre Jr., and they got the short king, Isaiah Thomas, king of the fourth quarter.
Yep. He's there for the rest of the season now.
Yep, they signed him. But I mean, I think this team, if they matched up against the Heat, could potentially give the Heat a run for their money and possibly make it to the second round, but it all depends on how the Heat would play.
Yeah, I would probably still, I would definitely still pick the Heat over the Hornets, but I think it would be a fun. They like the Hornets would. I think the Hornets would possibly win like one or two games to kind of like spice up the series, make it fun.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know if they're ready to compete with the Heat yet.
Oh no. No, they're not really ready to compete, but I think they'll give them a run for their money,
For sure.
if you know what I mean.
So how about the 9-seeded Brooklyn Nets?
See, this is a tough one, right? Because by the end of the season, Toronto could fall, and the Brooklyn Nets might have to play Toronto, and then they might not even get in because then Kyrie couldn't play in Toronto.
Yeah, but that's a lot of what ifs right now. We're not
Yeah.
talking about that. We're talking about where
Yeah.
the standings are right now.
Brooklyn, with Kyrie back, I give them a 7.
Yeah, I'd say 6.5, 7. The reason why some people might think it's higher because of KD, Kyrie, which they're both great. The role players on that team, outside of like Seth Curry, they're just not very good. They don't really have a good team. Like
They
I
don't
don't think
have
they have a
good
good team.
depth.
They have KD and Kyrie, which could potentially be enough to get you to the third round, the conference finals, as we saw last year, where pretty much KD did it all himself.
Oh yeah. But also looking at this, if it ended now, they play the Hawks. They're gonna beat the Hawks.
Yeah, I just
And
think they can make. I give them probably a 6.5, 7. I just don't know if they have a complete enough team to make it all the way, but they can definitely win. They can get second, third round for sure.
now you're saying that if it ended right now, we're just gonna go off that hypothetical. They'd play either the Cavs or the Hornets in the second game of the play-in.
Mm-hmm.
If they win that, they would get the 8 seed and face the Celtics in the first round.
Yeah.
Who do you got winning?
Especially without Rob Williams, that's tough. That's gonna be a very good first round matchup because, like I think I mentioned before, I would take Kyrie and KD over Tatum and Brown, but the Celtics team around those players is much better than what the Nets have. The supporting cast for the Celtics is much better than the supporting cast for the Nets. But now, like I said, you just lost Rob Williams for potentially the whole playoffs. So, I think I don't know that one could really go either way. I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't know if I can really say for sure which team I think could win that.
Breaking news: Kendrick Perkins says Celtics are a second round exit without Rob Williams.
Okay, well there you go. The man himself, Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins. I really don't care what he says.
Fair. How about the 10-seeded Hawks?
They're 0.
Yeah, 0. I don't think
they got Trey, and even if they do make the play, and they're going to get demolished by the Nets in the first round.
Yeah, I don't think that team really has a shot at anything.
Yeah, get them out of here.
Okay. So then we'll jump over to the West. The West is kind of top heavy, and when I mean top heavy, I mean the 1 seed heavy. The Suns are literally 9 games above anybody else, and there's 9 games above the second seed, and then 13 games above the 3 seed. So they're just kind of head shoulder above everybody right now, and they're still playing great. What do you give the 1-seeded Suns?
1-seeded Suns. I mean, considering how they're playing now and what they did last year, I think a 9 or a 10.
Yeah,
even though
9.5.
Even though I hate to say it because it's just something about Devin Booker that I just don't like, but I gotta give him a 9.5, about 9.5, just because of how well they're playing.
Yeah, I'm in that same boat. I don't particularly like Devin Booker. I genuinely, just like I'm sure you do, I genuinely respect how good he is. Like he's a phenomenal player. Just I don't know. So yeah, I'd probably give him a 9.5. You said 9 or 10.
Yeah, 9 or 10. Also, are we gonna see the best record in the NBA jinx? It happened to pass, I think, 4 or 5 years to where they exited either in the semifinals or the conference finals.
But that's been like the Jazz for the past couple of years, hasn't it?
Let me look.
Because I know the Jazz have been like the 1 seed, and they just when it comes to playoff time, that Jazz team really struggles.
Let me just take a look. I don't know if it'll actually give me a list or not. I'm hoping it will.
I don't know, but okay. So I guess we can move on to while you look for that, we'll move on to the second seeded, the Memphis Grizzlies. Sorry. How do you thinking? What do you give them?
See, that is a tough one because I think they could make a really good push, but at the same time, they are a very, very, very young team, and they don't have a lot of playoff. You know what I mean? Like playoff
Experience.
Yes,
Sorry,
that's what I'm
truck
looking
driving by
for.
right now.
Yeah, they just don't have a lot of playoff experience. I think it's still high, and I think it's still about a 7, 8.
Yeah, that's probably right.
But they could still do it. They just don't have the experience to do it, in my opinion. Now, all I gotta say is Ja Morant for MVP.
Now, yeah. Speaking of John Morant, he's going to be reevaluated in 2 weeks because of his tweaked knee. And this came out, I think, yesterday. Yesterday. So he's definitely going to be out until the playoffs. Again, they say reevaluated, so he could miss time in the playoffs. They're like 17-2 without Ja. Like they're a fantastic team with and without him. I just don't know in a 7-game series if I would pick the Grizzlies without Ja Morant to go against. Well, maybe. I mean, they'll go against either the Timberwolves, Clippers, Pelicans, or Lakers. However that works out.
I actually wouldn't. I would include the Spurs into that too because they're only a game back behind the Lakers.
Yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be close, but like I said, I just maybe first round without Ja or missing the first game or two, they'll be okay. But if they reevaluate Ja, he's gonna be out for an extended amount of time. I don't think they're really gonna go past the second round.
Yeah,
Even with Ja, I don't know if they're quite ready to make a conference finals push, or we could see them be a team like the Hawks that make the conference finals push this year and kind of surprise everybody. I just hope they don't have the bounce back year that the Hawks have had. You know what I mean?
yeah.
So the 3 seeded Warriors.
See, I don't. The Warriors are a tough team because they've been playing decent without Curry since he went down with that injury. It's hard to say. They'd be going against Denver in the first round.
Yeah. I think Steph Curry just took his boot off from what I hear. So again, they give the same score for him, reevaluate it in 2 weeks after spraining a ligament, but then that was about a week ago. So within the next week or so, he's going to get reevaluated. I think if he comes back for the playoffs, I'd probably give them like a 7. If he's not back, I'd give them like a 5.
Oh yeah, I can I can totally understand that. I mean, the Warriors are still going to be good if Curry plays or doesn't play, but they will be great if he does play, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
Like they're possibly title contenders if Curry does play.
How about the 4 seeded Mavericks?
Ooh, Luka Doncic. They got Luka.
Yeah,
and that's about it.
pretty much.
I think
Dinwiddie and Brunson been good this year, but not, it's still Luka.
Yeah. I mean, I think they beat the Jazz in the first round.
Yes, I agree with that.
But second round, Suns are going to win. So they'll be facing the Suns. Second round exit for the Mavs. I'd give them about a 5.
I feel like this is the Suns. They're not the Suns. Sorry, the Mavericks need to get out of the first round this year because they've been first round exits the past 2-3 years in a row now.
Yeah, something like that.
So I think they need to get out of the first round, or you're going to see some type of major change within the organization. I don't think it'll be coaching because Jason Kidd's first year here, but I think you're going to see a big lineup overhaul if they don't win, and it could be good. Could be good for them because, like I said, they've been stuck in that mediocre range for the past couple of years now, and you don't want to fall into that where you're like always you don't want to fall into an Indiana Pacers type beat where you're always just good enough to make the playoffs but never good enough to win anything. So I think the lineup overhaul could be good for them.
Oh yeah, I mean they got to get someone in to pair with Luka. They tried the Porzingis experiment and that didn't truly work out quite good.
Not very good at all.
No, it didn't. But
now let me ask you this: what do you see as a good pairing for Luka? Like what? Not you don't have to give me a player specifically, but what type of player, what position, what type of player do you think is best for Luka?
Luka can pretty much do about everything. He can play on ball, off ball. He's a 6'8" guard, so I feel
I think you want Luka
you want him
have
on
the
ball, but he can play off ball if you need him to. You know what I mean? You get what I'm saying? So there is a possibility that I think they need to pair him up with a really good center that is going to come into free agency or trade for one.
Now, what type of center?
I'm going to say I think someone like Karl Anthony Towns.
That's a big ask for a team to bring in.
I'm not saying like Karl Anthony Towns, like bring Karl in because Minnesota ain't going to get rid of him.
Yeah.
They're going to give him up for much. You know what I mean? But they need to bring in someone that can that can score the ball by themselves if they need to and take the load off of Luka, but play good enough defense that they're not a liability.
It's like a Miles Turner.
Basically, yes.
Okay.
They need someone that can come in and do their thing without being a risk. If you know what I mean.
But is Miles Turner good enough to be your second star on a championship team? I don't think so.
No.
So it's definitely tough for them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
That's why we're not GMs.
I just found this. The Jazz had the overall record, and we all know how that went.
Yeah. Terrence Mann took them out of the playoffs.
Yeah, that's a little bit embarrassing.
So, do we give rankings? I don't know if we gave rankings on the Mavericks. What do you give them?
4.
Yeah, I'd probably say 5. Yeah.
It's just I just don't think it's there.
I think the West is kind of dominated by your 1 seed right now. I don't know if anybody other than the 1 seed is really gonna make it out.
I think if the Mavericks jump the Warriors for the 3 seed, I think that would be a good matchup against the Grizzlies, but just because they're the 4 seed, they ain't making it past the second round. But they do have to get out of the first round.
Yeah. Next is the 5-seeded Jazz.
2.
Yeah, I agree. Donovan Mitchell hasn't been very good recently. He's struggled recently, I should say. And when it comes playoff time, that team just goes from. I mean, Donovan's always the lead guy, but like when playoffs come around, it's literally only Donovan. Like that is it. Nobody else shows up, at least offensively.
Oh, and yeah, you're right about that.
They just can't. You're not gonna win. Like you saw that with like prime James Harden is better than Donovan Mitchell, and even he couldn't carry a team to the finals like that. So you're just not gonna carry a team to the finals having one guy taking all your shots.
Oh yeah, that's you need this is when it comes down to it, you need good depth behind every position.
You need a guy that if Donovan's not dropping 50, a guy that, hey, look, he can give me 20. You know what I mean? I know Jordan Clarkson off the bench is supposed to be sort of that guy, but you need a guy in that lineup with Donovan that can take the ball. Like what Mike Conley was supposed to be able to take the ball out of Donovan's hands and like facilitate and stuff like that. But Conley just really hasn't been that. I mean, like Conley has not been bad by any means, but he hasn't been that. So, I think that if the Jazz would have got Spencer Dinwiddie over the Mavericks, it really would have helped the Jazz.
Oh yeah, that it would have gave them another person that, like you said, could hold the ball could bring attention away from Donovan.
Yep. So what do you give? Yeah, we both gave their rankings there. The 6 seed Denver Nuggets.
With everything that's been going on with them,
I'm looking up Jamal because I know like Jamal. They said he was going to be coming back. Now they're like, oh, he's probably not coming back at all. So they really don't know. So what it looks like is Jamal Murray and Michael Porter Jr. aren't going to be playing in the playoffs, which, as good as Jokic is, I don't think in a 7-game series he's going to win you multiple rounds. I think they could maybe,
I think they maybe get 2 games, maybe 3 against the Warriors.
Yeah, that's going to be tough because that's another team that's like without Steph Curry. If the Warriors go into that game without Steph Curry, do you think that the Nuggets can upset them?
Yes.
Right. But if they go in with Steph Curry, do you think the Nuggets can upset them?
No.
Exactly. That's literally how I feel. I think the Nuggets' chances of even making it past the first round depends on the other team. So, I don't think they have much of a chance. I give them like a 3.
Yeah, 3, maybe. Yeah, 3.
The 7 seed Timberwolves.
10.
Yeah, right. Yes.
A 10.
You saw DeMarcus Cousins getting a haircut on the sideline at their game Friday night, right? And now it wasn't DeMarcus. They call him. It wasn't actually DeMarcus Cousins. It was like Jedi Jet. I don't know how to say his name, but he was getting a haircut on the sideline, court side.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. But realistically, I give them like a 1 or a 2. They've been a fun team to watch this year, but they're not matching up with anybody.
Here's the tricky thing. Because Karl-Anthony Towns is a monster.
Mm-hmm.
And Rob Williams last night had a hard time even getting it.
So is Anthony Edwards. Anthony Edwards is a monster.
Just give me a second right here. Just give me a second. Should have had this pulled up already, but
while you do that, I'll just go ahead and say, like I said, I think they've been a really fun, surprising team. It's good to see the Timberwolves finally winning again because it's showing us the full extent of Karl-Anthony Towns. He's on a team that's winning, he's enjoying it, and he's really showing out of how good he is. Where the point, I think he's probably going to be your All-NBA third-team center this year. I think it's going to be Jokic and B is your 1 and 2. And then I think it's going to be Karl-Anthony Towns your 3. He's just been phenomenal this year. And, it's great to see Anthony Edwards I've always been a fan of Anthony Edwards. And, yeah, I think that team's good. I think bringing Pat Bev in, as much as people dislike him, just like myself with his antics and stuff, he's been great for that team, both defensively and just for the culture of the team. He's got that locker room ready to go out there every night and play their ass off on defense, which has been something we've always criticized about the Timberwolves and Karl-Anthony Towns in particular was the defensive side. So now you got a guy that literally all he does is hustle and play defense. He really, just him alone, made that whole team elevate themselves.
Oh yeah, I can't argue with that because that's pretty much what I think. Pat Bev just brings that defensive presence and he can hype people up.
Yeah.
With even just diving after a loose ball, he can hype people up. It's just insane.
Yeah. I mean, look at that game for the Timberwolves against the Lakers when Russ airballed and Karl-Anthony Towns was looking around, doing all this antic shit. That's something I don't think you see Karl-Anthony Towns do last year or 2 years ago when the team sucks. You know what I mean? But I think now that they're winning, he's getting his swagger up and he can do shit like that. Okay, some people might not like it, but you're starting to see his confidence come up and you're getting the full skill set of what Cat is.
Oh yeah, and I believe he is one of the best big men in the league, but he just couldn't showcase it because of the team that he was on.
Yep. Now he's got teams with threats around him D'Lo, Anthony Edwards, people that can you can't put everybody on Cat now like you used to be able to because you got 2 lead guards that can kick your ass. You know what I mean? So they're set up really good. They don't have the talent level to compete, but I think as building blocks, they have a lot there.
Oh yeah. Just looking at their depth chart, they got They got Pat Bev at the 1, D'Lo at the 2, Anthony Edwards at the 3, Jared Vanderbilt at the 4, and Cat at the 5. Their backups are looking like Nas Reed at the 5, Jaden McDaniels at the 4, Torian Prince at the 3, Malik Beasley at the 2, and Jordan McLaughlin at the
And
1.
I think having McDaniels and Malik Beasley coming off your bench for scoring has just been great for them. And obviously Nas Reed's been great too. Like I said, they have young pieces in place to build on. Now I understand D'Lo is making kind of a lot of money for being probably the third option, second, third option, depending on the night. And Pat Bev's not somebody you're going to keep long term. So they definitely have some things to figure out with that. But Anthony Edwards, Vanderbilt, Cat, McDaniels, Nas Reed, Malik Beasley. Those are all guys that can legit be on a title team, depending on who you put around the other guys you put around them.
Oh yeah, I agree with that, and I just feel like you bring a bunch of guys like that together, and I think they can gel really well together. And I honestly think they're going to be the 7 seed going in, and depending on what happens with Ja, if Ja comes back, I think Memphis Grizzlies take it. If Ja doesn't come back, I think Minnesota goes to the next round.
It'll be a dogfight, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
We've seen how good the Grizzlies are without Ja, but that
How
could
long
change.
can they keep that up?
Yep. All they have to do is lose 4 games and boom, that's it. So, so what was your ranking on them?
A 10.
A 10.
No, I say it's gonna be higher than the Nuggets and Jazz because they actually have a decent team built around their superstar. I say about a 5.
I'd say probably a 3 or a 4.
I just put them above the Jazz and Nuggets is because they have practically 3 people that they could give the ball to and say, go get your shot. And that's just in the starting lineup. That's not including Malik Beasley and Jordan McLaughlin or Jaden McDaniel.
Yeah. Okay. How about the 8-seeded Clippers?
Without playoff P and Kawhi,
0.
0. Pretty much.
I don't think they're going to win anything. I think they could probably even lose in the playing game.
They're going to lose to Minnesota if the standings stay like they are.
I just, they've been cool this year. They've been floating around 500. I don't think the team's good enough without those two guys to win.
Oh yeah, the team is practically built around those two, and with them being gone, I don't really see them having much of a chance.
Yeah. Okay, so how about the New Orleans Pelicans, a new 9 seed?
If Zion comes back, because he's not. He's not.
He's not.
Oh. 1-0.
Yeah, I'd probably give them a 0. I don't think they're contenders at all.
I think they beat the Lakers in the first playing game.
It's no disrespect to them. I just don't think they're competing. Yeah, the 10-seeded Lakers, I'd give them
a 10.
See, now, and I'm not trying to be biased at all, but this is a weird 10 seed because if you get fully healthy LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, that is good enough to win you games, right? But the problem is AD in the playoffs has always been a insane playoff performer. He's always been a monster in the playoffs. But it's like, can Anthony Davis even stay healthy is the biggest question. And 2 is what are you going to get for Westbrook? Well, there's actually 3 questions. Because like I said, what are you going to – Westbrook's been better recently for sure. But come playoff time, is he going to try to morph – is he going to stay in this role he's got? Or is he going to be trying to now show out because it's a playoff? And I feel like the more he tries to show out, the more they'll suffer from it. And then 3 is outside of LeBron, AD, and Westbrook, who do you trust on that team to do anything? And for me, it's nobody. Nobody. I don't trust anybody on that team outside of those 3 top guys and 2.5 kind of because Westbrook's hit or miss. outside of those, like I said, we'll go outside of those top two guys, and sometimes Westbrook. I don't trust anybody to be able to have a big game and win them a game. I know Melo to start the season was doing great. It's boom, boom, but like he's, Melo's over the season proven he's not that guy. He's at the back end of his career. Malik Monk's every once in a while have a big game. You know what I mean? The team's not good. They're like the Nets. Outside of their top guys, they don't have a good team. And I would even go as far to say is the Nets have a better supporting cast than the Lakers do.
Damn, shots fired.
And it's coming from a Lakers fan, man. It's been a rough season.
And I mean, that's saying if they even make the playing game.
That's definitely possible. And like I said, you said there, the Spurs are
a game
behind them. I mean, that's gonna be tough. I think the Lakers will probably pull it out, but I wouldn't be surprised if they don't.
You never know in the world of basketball.
You're dang right about that one.
I mean, the only thing I could say is the Lakers have a worse point differential than the Spurs. But then again, the Spurs are coached by Popovich. They're going to have a great defense every year.
So that kind of wraps that up. There is something I wanted to talk about real quick before we end this. The Oscars last night, man. I don't know how much of the Oscars you watched. I didn't watch too much of it.
All I seen was Will Smith smack the shit out of Chris Rock.
Yeah, that's kind of I mean, I don't know if you know the whole situation there, but Jada, Will Smith's wife, has a disease. I can't remember the name of the disease. It starts with an A, or I can't really pronounce it either. But it causes hair loss, so that's why she shaved her head. And I don't know if Chris Rock was aware. I've seen reports that he did know. I've seen other reports he didn't know. But he made a joke about her being in G.I. Jane, which is the main actress was bald in that movie. And if panned the camera, Will Smith was laughing at it. And Jada was very, very unhappy, rolling her eyes. And then it panned back to Chris Rock, and then you hear him say something, and you see Will Smith walk up. So I don't know if Will was just laughing to get through it, and then was like actually really pissed off the entire time, or I don't know, maybe he was laughing and then he saw Jada was upset, so then he got pissed off. You know what I mean?
I think he was laughing at the joke, and then she was pissed, shot him a look, and Will Smith was just like, "Damn, all right, I guess I got to do what I got to do."
I think it was a bit of a combination of the both. I think it definitely. I don't think he liked it at all anyway, but I think he was just laughing it off just to like move on from it. So I think he already was upset, and then he saw how upset she was. It just kind of fueled him up.
Yeah, but then again, when you get someone like Chris Rock, who's a comedian in there, and he's
a great comedian. Chris Rock.
Oh yeah, he's gonna. If you're there, he's gonna come at you.
Yeah,
he's gonna make a joke about you
for sure. That's where it comes. Like, where's the line? You know what I mean? Because obviously, like, you're a comedian, he's gonna make jokes that maybe go a little over the line, but like. Again, like, obviously, I don't know his intentions. I don't know Chris Rock, but like, there's a very good possibility he was just being lighthearted and just making a joke, not with any bad intent behind it. Now, is it really okay to joke about somebody's
mental health condition?
Yeah, no, maybe not. But again, like, it's like how much is I'm at the point where I think it was a poorly tasted joke. I don't think it should have been made, but I also think Will Smith overreacted by slapping him and then yelling the F word multiple times on national television.
I mean,
I think it was bad on both of them. I don't think either one of them's in the right.
It was bad on both of them. But it also comes back to the fact that, in my opinion, Will Smith should have left Jada back when he found out she cheated on him.
That's definitely fair too. I agree.
He should have left her.
And there's also a thing where it's like, you have to respect Will. You have to respect Will for what he's done. He's one of the greatest actors of all time, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
I mean,
guarantee you,
phenomenal. And,
I mean, just his work in The Fresh Prince was amazing.
Yeah, and he won an Oscar for best actor last night. So like, he's still doing it. I think you have to respect Will for his willingness to stand up for his wife and not let her get shit talked like that. But like then, like you say, like, all that stuff came out a couple years ago and it kind of got blown up weirdly out, and it's like maybe he should have handled it behind stage or during commercial and not literally just slap him, which could like technically he assaulted him. You know what I mean? He could get assault charges pushed on him, which I saw Chris Rock said he's not filing charges. So, kudos to Chris Rock for that one, because he really could have really fucked up Will with that.
Yeah, that is true.
But so shout out to Chris for, not filing charges.
And also Chris ate that shit.
He did, and you could tell because I was like, "There's no way that's real, right?" But he got slapped. You saw there was that half a second where he was about to throw one back, and then realized, "Wait a minute, I'm on national television. I can't do that." And I think he tried to laugh it off and just trying to. It was incredibly awkward after that, and he tried to just move on because he was presenting for, I think, Best Documentary. And then I think during the commercial break, it was Tyler Perry, Denzel Washington, and his publicist and stuff like that. They were talking to him and trying to calm him down and stuff like that, like Will Smith. And I saw Stephen A. Smith even tweeted out that it was just unacceptable for Will Smith to do this and all that kind of stuff. And it's it's one of those things where it's they're both in the wrong. It was a bad joke. Will overreacted. So what do you think is going to happen next?
That is true. I think Will's been in this industry long enough to know that jokes like that are gonna be made, and you just gotta keep rolling with it. And I just think Jada even though the joke shouldn't have been made,
I can understand why it hurt her for sure.
I can definitely understand that, but at the same time, you gotta just put it behind you. You know what I mean?
Take the punches as they roll, just like Chris Rock did.
You just gotta take the blows as they start coming and just keep moving forward.
Yeah, and it's Will Smith literally minutes later won the award for the Oscar for Best Actor, and he said in his speech about, in this industry you get disrespected all the time, you get made fun of all the time, and you kind of have to, brush it off because you're in a public spot. And which, for sure, professionals and any type, professional athletes, actors, anybody that's famous gets criticized and scrutinized and trash talked all the time from all types of people. It comes with being famous. People are gonna not like you and just talk the talk.
Oh, and,
yeah. He goes, you got to brush it off and you got to move. And it's okay, yeah, but you literally just didn't do that.
That was moments.
Yeah.
Moments before you just slapped Chris Rock in the face, and now you're saying about that. And I think they pulled his Oscar out from him. I think they.
I saw reports
they pulled it from him.
Did they actually?
I think they actually did. I think they pulled the Oscar.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Let me take. The New York Post reports that Will may be asked. I'm not sure. I'm seeing that they could, but I'm not seeing if they did. Yeah, I'm not seeing any reports yet about they did take it. I'm just saying reports they could possibly take it.
Yeah, I thought I saw something that they did pull it from him, but then again, they could just be reviewing it and make the decision at a later date. But
yeah, it was definitely a weird moment in the Oscars. I wasn't expecting at all.
You never expect someone to get slapped in the middle of it.
Yeah, the Oscars are usually pretty boring, and I don't like watching them because, just like I said, they're just boring. But that definitely livened up it a bit. It livened it up for 30 seconds, and then it got incredibly awkward after that.
Yeah, because then Will sat down, and he said what he said twice, and then that was kind of just was it fake? Was it real?
Yeah, like I said, initial shock reaction was oh, okay, that was fake. But then, I think when I realized that it was real, was like I said, once he started yelling back onto the stage, he legitimately looked pissed off.
Oh yeah,
because I'm it's probably just a publicity stunt two famous worldwide comedians and actors, having like a fake little slap on the stage, like, oh my God, you know what I mean, to get people talking. And that's what I originally thought when I was watching it. But then he sat down and he started screaming, and Chris was like, okay, I will. Like, I won't say nothing. I'm like, oh shit. He's like, they're being real right now.
Yeah, I think what was said is keep my wife's name out of your
Effing
mouth.
mouth. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that because you sent it, and I was like, oh, that's fake. They did something backstage, and then as it keeps coming out, it's kind of just like, damn, he really did walk up in national television and slapped him,
Yeah. And now
and then walked off.
Yeah, people. I still see it all the time. Like this today, people are like, "Oh, it's definitely still staged." Blah blah blah. And like, whatever. Like, if you believe it was staged, you can believe it was staged. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to tell you to believe it was real. Some people just refuse to believe anything that happens like that. They're like, "Oh, it all has to be fake. It all has to be scripted," which isn't true, but that's what they want to believe. So it's whatever. Yeah, I this, I don't know what's going to happen with Will now. This has potential to really, really screw him badly. Even if it's not legally, I think people are always going to remember this. And most people are going to remember it in a bad way. And I think it also sucks for him because, it's going to be one of those situations where he's a phenomenal actor. He's done so many great things, but people are going to be like, but remember that time he slapped Chris Rock? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to be like one of those, like a Pete Rose, where he's like, phenomenal player, but remember when he bet on his games? It's going to be one of those but things that it's always going to follow him, I think.
Oh, it's going to follow him no matter where he goes.
Yeah.
And it might impact his ability to get movies in the future.
I don't know.
Maybe.
Maybe. I think it might impact his invitation. Like, he might not get invited to some of these events again.
We're going to have the Oscars next year. It's going to be headlined by Will Smith and Chris Rock.
You know what? you know what? Would that even surprise you?
No, not really.
That's like their way of making up to each other, is they host it next year.
That'd be something.
And like, I know our friend Tyler in the group chat was saying, now he's waiting to see a boxing match between what did he say, Madagascar and what was? Hold on, I'll see if I can find it here.
I remember.
Now I want a boxing match between Fresh Prince and Madagascar. So, and I saw today, actually Sal Volcano from Impractical Jokers, he made a tweet saying, like, what's the over under on Jake Paul offering Will Smith and Chris Rock boxing contracts, and then Jake Paul quote tweeted it saying that he would offer Will Smith and Chris Rock both $15 million each to box each other.
Shit, I'd watch that.
And like, if you're obviously, like, Chris Rock and Will Smith are multimillionaires, so 15 million, well, I'm sure it's still good money to them. They're not going to take it just to take the money. But like, think about it. Like, if you're Will Smith and Chris Rock, like you said, you guys could literally fake box each other. Like, somebody's, what I mean? And get 15 mil each. Like,
I mean, yeah, Jake Paul saying, like you said, tweeted, I got 15 mil for Will Smith and 15 mil for Chris Rock, ready to go. Let's do it in August on my undercard.
Yep. So, like, I don't think they would, because I think they're above that. I don't think Will Smith or Chris Rock would accept a fight card from Jake Paul.
I mean, I would love to see it.
It would be funny to see.
Just two of these well-known celebrities just get into a ring and just start beating the hell out of each other. I'd watch
who do you think they would script to win it?
I think they'd if they scripted it, I think they would script it so Chris Rock won. Kind of just like, oh, he blindsided me with that slap. And then Chris Rock just comes in and beats him in 2 rounds or something like that.
It's tough too because I love both of these actors and comedians. Like I love them both, so I wouldn't want to see either one of them lose and get like the bad rep for losing. Like,
I think if it's a straight up fight, I think Will Smith takes it. If it's scripted, I think they're going to give it to Chris Rock.
yeah, I mean, Chris Rock. I mean, he was in the Madagascar movies. I watched growing up. Hey, but then he was in stuff like obviously like I'm missing a lot, but he was in the grown up movies with Adam Sandler. Like he's just there's so many movies I watched, and I'm like, oh man, Chris Rock was in that movie. You know what I mean? But then it's the same thing with Will Smith. It's like, he has some legendary movies like I Am Legend and all that kind of stuff. Men in Black, Bad Boys. It's not like I don't know. I think it's just gonna be a weird stand on both their careers.
I think Chris Rock was more of for like the younger generation ish, and Will Smith was for the older generation. If you get what I'm saying.
I don't know. I feel like because
when we first met him,
okay, well, yeah, well, my introduction to Chris Rock was Marty from Madagascar. So obviously that's a kid movie. And my first introduction to Will Smith, I think, was I want to say it might have been Bad Boys. So obviously 2 very different tone movies.
Yeah.
I think I've enjoyed Will more than I have Chris Rock, but I've also loved, I still love Chris Rock.
Yeah.
Chris does more of the comedy movies where Will's like a more serious actor. Obviously, Fresh Prince and stuff like that. He has some stuff like that out. But Will does a phenomenal job at the dramatic, drama-filled, serious movies.
Oh, yeah. That's kind of like, in my opinion, his specialty type deal. You know what I mean?
Hancock's a great movie. Have you ever seen that?
No, I have not.
Oh my God, you got to go watch Hancock. That is such a good movie.
Okay, I guess I'll have to go watch Hancock then.
It's so good. It is legitimate. He's like it's him like, but he has superpowers. But yeah, okay. So I just wanted to kind of talk about that because I know we kind of had an earlier episode, so I figured we'd add something on there. You got anything else you want to talk about?
Celtics winning the whole thing, even without Rob Williams. Rob Williams is going to come back in the finals against the Suns.
Yep.
Rob Williams is going to come back, and he's going to block Devin Booker on the game-winning layup for the Suns to win. He's going to send that shit off the backboard. It's going to fly down the other side of the court.
Yep.
Celtics are going to win. Celtics in 4 every round.
So
Celtics in 4.
J&G Sports Network's NFT made one yesterday. We have an NFT now, it's just one. Don't try to buy it because it's mine. I'm not going to sell it to you unless you offer me like $100,000, and maybe we'll talk about it then. But
if you are interested in buying the NFT, hit us up on one of the social.
Hit me up on J&G Sports Network .com. It's like a pod page. I will see if I can link it in there. If not, just like on YouTube, leave it in the comment section, and we can talk there. Obviously, like nobody's gonna buy it yet, but hey, if you want to get it before we get big, and it'll be worth more. You never know.
Yeah, I mean, we'll sell it to you for $100,000, and it'll be worth $101,000.
Also, Levi G inspired. Now this is a tough one merch coming out soon. No, I'm kidding. We don't have any merch. Maybe eventually one day, but not now.
Celtics in 4 merch coming soon.
Yep, well, we'll have multiple different lines.
Yeah, we're gonna have Celtics in 4, Lakers in 4.
No, definitely not Lakers in 4.
We Them Boys merch.
No way. That's copyrighted. We can't do that.
Scratch it. Nope. Not thinking about. Nope.
We got Levi's inspired. Now this is a tough one, and Celtics in 4 merch.
If you are thinking about buying some, let us know.
Yeah, for sure. We're not going to come out with merch anytime soon, but we would like to see if people would be interested in something like that because I think it would be fun. It would be funny. Um, sure, but like I said, that's down the road. That's definitely down the road for us.
Yeah, after we get signed by Bleacher Report.
Of course, yeah. Bleacher Report, if you're watching, I sent you an
Uh,
email last week. Please respond.
yeah, please respond.
You left me on red. Please respond. Um,
Oh.
all right. Well, this has been a good episode.
Quick question before we get off the air.
Yep.
Who is your favorite commentator? Or just person behind the scenes, you know, like Shaq or Charles or Troy
Now,
Aikman
when you say, okay,
who is your favorite person in the sports industry that is not a player, that still does behind the camera work or in front? You know what I mean? Someone still involved with the sports industry that is retired.
I think it could be Mike Breen. I mean,
You like Greeny?
No, Breen, Mike Breen.
Oh, Mike Breen. I thought you said Mike Green.
I don't. There's nothing better than that legendary bang call. You know what I mean? Like,
oh, bang!
Like he just says it. It's so good. Like there's definitely multiple commentators out there I enjoy listening to. But I think he just takes the top. I'm trying to think of some more.
All right, now that's your favorite commentator. Now, who's your favorite TV analyst?
TV analyst?
Like you got Shaq or Charles or
definitely
someone like that. We got Charles Hader over here.
Yeah.
You know, there are reports back in his college days that says Charles Barkley was as wide as he was tall.
Yes.
That's a big dude right there.
That's tough because I don't really like watching that kind of stuff because
we all know it's Skip Bayless. Come on now.
No, not at all. Like I said, I don't like watching because it's all fake narrative stuff. It's stuff to get you talking, but none of it's like, not I don't say none of it, but most of it's not real. It's just stuff they make up to get you to talk. They make problems out of nothing. So it's like,
that is kind of true, yeah.
But I mean, I really do like Shaq, of course. I mean, who doesn't like Shaq?
It's Shaq.
Ernie Johnson, he's a good one.
That whole TNT cast is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
Minus Charles. I'm just kidding, Barkley. I'm just kidding, Charles. But Shaq is better than you.
Now, going back to the commentators, this is definitely, it might be biased, but it's kind of not biased. I don't know. Like, he's still very young into the commentating aspect of it, but I'm really, really a fan of listening to Tony Romo commentate games. Yeah, there's a little bit of bias there for being a Cowboys fan, but I think he brings a different insight that most of the other ones don't, and I enjoy it.
That is true. This man is like reading defenses as they're coming out, saying, "Oh, they're running this, running this." Just imagine if he would have applied that during his playing career, he would have won the Super Bowl or two.
It would have helped if we had an offensive line at all during his career too, so he had time to read them. But you know,
that is true.
He spent most of it running in circles because we had literally no offensive line.
I mean, it was kind of just like, Dez is down there somewhere.
Pretty much, and it worked.
For me, the NBA commentators, I gotta go with you. That bang,
Mike
LeBron for three, bang. You know, that's just
blocked by James.
Blocked by LeBron. That's always gonna be nostalgic. For the NFL, another one for the NBA, my boy Brian Scalabrine.
Of course.
The White Mamba. He does Celtics games sometimes. Yeah, gotta shout out to the White Mamba. And for the NFL, I don't really have one because they all hate the Steelers. So
yeah,
they're all against the Steelers. So they always root for. Let's just put it like this: Detroit could be playing the Chiefs. They'll root for the Chiefs. Steelers could be playing Detroit. They'll root for Detroit. it might not be that way, but that's how it feels being a Steelers fan. That's just how it feels.
I feel like Steelers fans have this weird sense of everybody's against them attitude.
Everyone is against us because we're the best team ever.
That's probably why.
No, I just feel like it's there, and we just get a bunch of hate because obviously there are some of our fans that take it way too far. You know what I mean?
I get it. Oh, trust me, I'm literally Cowboys. Speaking to the choir here, man. I'm a Cowboys fan.
But I feel like I'm just part of the small portion of the fan base that will talk shit on my own team because I know when they're bad. I don't hype them up past something that they're not.
Yeah, it's something that frustrates me because, like, obviously being a Cowboys fan, most people know Cowboys fans as obnoxious, blah, blah, blah. And I can fully admit that they are like that.
Paul, why you gotta be so obnoxious?
Yeah, right. And like I'm like one of them. I'm one of the small amount of Cowboys fans that are like realistic with my team, and I'm not afraid to criticize my team. And I think it can get annoying when you criticize. Like if I criticize a team like the Cowboys, then you have all these Cowboys fans coming into the comment section saying, "Oh, you're a fake fan. You don't, you're not with us. Leave." Blah 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 blah. It's like, no, I've been a Cowboys fan, a strong Cowboys fan my entire life, but you can't have an excuse for every time you lose. You know what I mean? And like a lot of fan bases do that. They give up excuses why they lost. Sometimes you just get outplayed and you lose, and that's okay because there's better teams in the NFL. I hate when it's like, oh, we lost because of the refs. Oh, we lost because I'm sure for sure refs make bad calls, but you can't after every game you lose, you can't say you lost because of the refs. It just doesn't work like that. It comes down to a point where maybe the team's just not as good as you think they are, and you know what I mean. So,
but I do gotta say this: there are times to when refs will stick their nose into things that they shouldn't be sticking their nose into and ruin a really good game.
I feel like with the refs, I just want consistency. I just want if you're gonna make the call in the first quarter, make it in the fourth quarter. If you're not gonna make the call in the first quarter, don't make it in the fourth quarter type of thing. I hate when because like bad calls are gonna happen. They're humans. You know what I mean? Bad calls is going to happen. It's the aspect of the NFL, the NBA, all type of refs are going to make bad calls or miss calls. It's just going to happen. But what I don't like is when they start a game by not calling anything, and then towards the end of the game they call everything. Yeah. Or to start the game, they're calling everything. At the end of the game, they're letting everybody get away with everything. It's like whatever you start your game as, keep it consistent. If you can keep it consistent, it's more understandable, right? Like if you call a face mask on a guy in the first quarter, in the fourth quarter the same thing happens, you let it go, you're gonna get backlash. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, it's just either let them play or don't let them play.
Yeah,
you know
or whatever you start with, keep it the entire game.
That's the biggest thing about refs is they don't have the consistency that they should. They'll call something one way and then turn around and call it another way.
Yep, like I'm the type of person that believes. Obviously, there's rules in every league for a reason. You have to follow the rules if you're a player. But I also feel like there should be a little bit of – now, this is depending because some rules with player safety, I think, need to be followed to a T all the time just to protect the players. But like something like a face mask, horse collar, you should be strict on that because that can dangerously hurt a player.
Oh yeah, or if a quarterback's sliding and they get hit in the head, neck area,
like stuff like that. I think should be called to the fullest extent every time. But like the tugging of the jerseys within 5 yards, oh he did it in 6 yards, so the flag, that kind of stuff, you can live without calling. You can let the players play through the small little stuff. You know,
and the small infractions on holding, I can deal with that. But it's when you call holding all the time on one team. And then on the other side, you got a guy basically ripping your D lineman's mask off, and they won't call anything.
Yep.
It's just a consistency between the first quarter and the fourth quarter and the teams. It's got to be consistent the whole way through. But like you said, they're humans. They're going to make mistakes. It happens.
Yep. And if it was like every once in a while there would be an inconsistent game, I don't think people would complain. People are still going to complain because they just do.
People find things to complain about.
Like say for like 10 straight games, the refs call, like we'll go to the NBA. Say for like 10 games, the the refs are really solid, and then they have a bad game. That's going to happen, right? And that's more understandable. You can accept that more than you can every night being something different.
Yeah.
I don't think fans would complain as much fans wouldn't complain as much if the refs had an off night every once in a while and just missed some stuff because it happens. But when it happens every single night, that's when it gets annoying.
Oh yeah, I can definitely agree with that.
All right. Well, I think that about wraps that up. That was a good extra 15 minutes there.
It's always good to add a little bit more.
Yeah. So anything else you got to add?
Nope, that's about it. Yeah.
Right.
The one thing to say, Ryan Hollins used to be sportscaster. Remember him?
Yeah.
Terrible takes.
Yes, of course.
I believe he's the only one that predicted Luka was going to be this good, and nobody listened to him.
I feel like foreign players are either very, very good or very, very bad when they come over. It's one of the two.
Yeah, I mean, and this was a rare case that Ryan Hollins actually played with Luka or against Luka in the Euro League, and Luka's even come out and said like it's easier to score 30 in the NBA than it is where he played beforehand.
Yeah.
Because the rule changes and the ball and everything like that.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, it's been another episode of the J&G Sports Network podcast. The weather's still been kind of hit or miss. Like it's supposed to snow Wednesday, then be 70 degrees Thursday. So the weather's still not cooperating for us. But once the weather gets nice, we'll start doing some like IRL videos, just some different type of content. So it's not just podcast.
We only do podcast, Paul.
Yes. So we'll get some IRL videos of like either us playing basketball or like we'll figure some stuff out off camera. We'll talk about some stuff. But yeah, so another episode. Hope you guys enjoy. And it's been Jay over here and G over there.
Y'all have a good one.
Yep. We'll see you guys later. Peace.
Peace.